morning. It's Tuesday morning. I just hit a push day, and today is the first time in a long time that I've genuinely felt like making a YouTube video. So we're sitting down, we're filming. I want to fill you guys in on what I've been doing for the last few months of not uploading and actually not consuming any social media up until about a week ago. And also just talk about general updates, like this channel, what's going on, what I expect to be happening in the future, yeah, and some other random stuff that's on my mind. Okay, so let's start. I deleted all social media off my phone back in February very impulsively because I felt bad. I felt worse after using it every single time. And I use that as a barometer for life in many ways, whether it's right or not. I've started using it with food choice, right? So even if a food has similar nutritional value, similar macronutrients, like does one food make me feel better 30, 60, 90 minutes after eating it than another? Working out, like the classic example, even when you desperately do not feel like working out, when you go train, you always feel better after every single time for decades. Like that has been the case for me, and clients, like that's fact. I'm gonna go out on a slight limb and say that's fact. Using that same line of reasoning, every single time I would go on social media, I would feel cloudy, I would feel down, I would feel like murky, I would feel overstimulated. I wouldn't feel good after consuming on social media. So I deleted Instagram, Twitter, everything from my phone. And you would think that like if someone is spending too much time on social media and doesn't like how it makes them feel and they delete it all, then they're gonna be this uber productive, hyper, like amazing human, which would make a nice like clickbaity thing in video and story, but it's not the truth. I picked up other habits that I kind of had to fight off. I think they were probably, no, they definitely weren't more productive. Online chess being one of them. Yeah, like I found other ways to waste time, but there were also benefits to not being on there. One being increased depth of in-person relationships. I spent more time with my family, got back to Minnesota for a good chunk of time. Even just like calls and texts and WhatsApps. So going deeper, FaceTimes, going deeper with a smaller number of people and having more meaningful relationships. And that's not to discount any social media-ish relationships. It's just when you interact with a fewer number of people over a greater amount of time, each of those relationships is going to have more meaning in it, generally speaking, than talking to a greater number of people and having less time per person. Like I think that intuitively makes sense. So that's something that I've felt really good about as a result of not being on social media. Going forward, I'm going to have to come up with some kind of time restrictions because, full disclosure, like outside of referrals, social media is the way that referrals and my website, social media is the way that the most coaching clients find me, and obviously that's my only revenue stream, fitness coaching, and so my business has taken a 20 to 25% hit in revenue as a result of not putting anything out for 3 months. Which actually isn't the purpose of this video at all, but I'm thinking to like strategies for engaging on Instagram, posting on Instagram, being in a few different places. Most importantly, and oddly, and I'm nervous to talk about this, and I've shot this video a couple times, even though we're taking it now because I was nervous about talking about this, was something that I did when I deleted all social media and got really quiet. Was I started reading the Bible, which, let me preface that with one, for basically my entire life I was resistant to doing so, because since I've been old enough to like think I was smart, 12 maybe, I saw it as a book for people who are afraid to die and want to feel better about it, if that's at least somewhat accurate. But for whatever reason, I decided to purchase the audiobook, and I started the New Testament, and I went through the Gospels, and then went back to Genesis, and then went through a little bit of the Old Testament, and then got very bored somewhere in the middle of Exodus, and then jumped back to the New Testament, got through all the New Testament, and then have just been poking around in the Old Testament. And I say all this because it's actually what I have been doing, and I want to share that with you. I don't know why, I just intuitively feel like I'm going to get negative feedback for this, which I'm okay with, obviously. My biggest takeaway is that reading this book, or what I've learned from this book, or what this book, the Bible, says, could not be more different than my perception of what I thought it said prior to reading it. And that perception was based on going to church when I was a kid. That perception was based on a massive level of disrespect for most people who called themselves Christians, and men specifically. Like, I saw religion in general as very judgmental, very like nose in the air, very weak. Most of my perception of Christianity specifically wasn't good. And that's not something I've shared with people. Like, I don't know, there are probably people close to me in my life who would be upset if they heard those thoughts, but it's just the truth. However, the impact that certain lines in the New Testament and certain books, certain chapters have had on my soul, I guess, like, because it's not rational, and it's not intellect, and it's not factual, and it's not science-based, it's none of these things. But that book has done something profound to me. And so that's what I'm doing for a few months. We're just gonna move on from that topic because I don't really know what else to say, mostly. I'm in the best headspace I've been in a while. I think I have a lot of ego attached to being right and being able to win arguments, and that's kind of like evidence-based fitness versus pseudoscience, or like, I don't know, just a lot of me likes to be right, and talking about the Bible isn't something that I can ever be right on, so I think that's where part of my hesitation comes from. I don't know. I do know that I made the conscious decision this morning on like mid-set of incline dumbbell bench press that if me talking about this had even a minor positive impact on one 22-year-old dude who like has been pushing religion aside his entire life but feels mild curiosity, like, then I feel good about making this video, even if, 74 poker players comment in the comment section how stupid I am or whatever. Alright, what's going on from here? I'm continuing, like, my business is what it is. I also run the mentorship, which I talked to you guys about with my good friend Jordan Syatt, where we help personal trainers build their businesses. That's been fun. That's been a new like style of work that I've really enjoyed. I start back up full-time coaching the main man Gary Vee, actually in just a week, so I'm excited for that. Yeah, like clients are good. Maybe I'll throw a few people up on the screen who are crushing. Things are good. I'm not going to make a promise about content expectations, weekly videos, daily videos, every 2 weeks, whatever. I am going to be making videos here, so you can expect those, but I'm not going to over promise and under deliver like I historically do. The one good thing about 2019 so far is the year of the robot, though, because focusing on the day, making a plan for the day, and then executing that plan is something that has grounded me deeply. And it's also funny because it's a concept that shows up in so many different places. Like only focusing, whether it's the present or the day, but like focus on now and do it. And then the repetition to doing it builds momentum, and yeah. So despite the massive, massive content disappointment that I have been and am, all is not lost. I hope everyone watching as well. If you're signed in on YouTube, leave a comment, just say what's up, say hi, I'd like to see you. If you're not signed in, don't sign in, just comment. That's unnecessary, but thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you guys. I will upload another video relatively soon. All right, have a good day.